Hello everybody. In this session we are going to deal with JavaScript. JavaScript is the scripting language developed by Netscape and Sun Microsystems. It is simpler to learn than a programming language. JavaScript is designed as an extension to HTML. It can be classified as event-driven object-based scripting language. The main features of JavaScript are client-side processing, interacting with users, keyboard interactions, mouse interactions, and page interactions. The main tasks that can be performed using this JavaScript are scrolling messages on status line, validating forms, making calculations, displaying messages on the page or in an alert box or in a new windows, animate images, change images, detect browser version plugins, create clocks, calculators, and calendars. Syntax and rules of JavaScript. JavaScript is case sensitive. The codes for the strings may be single quotes or the double quotes. Comments in the JavaScript include single line comments and multi-line comments. Every statement in JavaScript should be terminated with a semicolon, but it's not a must. Variables must be defined before they are used. Embedding JavaScript into the HTML. The JavaScript can be embedded into the HTML by using the tag called script, which receives an attribute called language whose value should be JavaScript. The code should be written within the script and by script tags only. For those browsers which do not support the scripting languages, to display any message on the browser, we have to provide the text in the NoScript and by NoScript tags. These are used to display the messages for those browsers which do not support the scripting languages. The following are the variables in JavaScript. They are integers, floating points, boolean values, and string values. The following are the operators in JavaScript. Math operators, which include plus, minus, star, slash, percent, shorthand assignment operators. Bitwise operators, which include not, or, exclusive or, left shift, right shift fill with zeros. The next one is logical operators, which include and, or, not, conditional, and comma. The following are the control statements available in JavaScript. They are if, switch, break, continue, while, do while, and for. These are similar to those control statements in any programming language. There are two more control statements new in this JavaScript. They are for in loop. This is used to display the elements of the document present in the document. With statements. This is also used to display the elements in the document. Functions in JavaScript. Functions are defined using the keyword function followed by its name and variables as arguments being passed in parentheses. For calling the function, we will be calling it by using the name of the function. The functions should be written in the script tags, whereas the calling function can be done in any part of the HTML program. Now let us do a small example how to embed JavaScript into the HTML and write a function in the script and call the function. This is the small program to embed script into the HTML file. The script has been embedded using the tags script and by script. In the script, The attribute is specified as JavaScript. A function has been returned. In the function, we have used the object document and its method write. This is used to display the message on the document. The function has been called on the event of the body, that is onload event. This function is called whenever the body has been loaded. This is the small example shown to embed the JavaScript into the HTML. These are some of the predefined functions available in JavaScript. Escape. This is used to convert the ASCII characters into ISO Latin standard characters. Unescape. This is used to convert ISO standard characters to ASCII characters. Eval. This is used to convert the string into integer or float values. Is NaN or is not a number. This receives the value as a parameter. It returns a boolean value true if the value is not a number and false if the value is a number. Parse float. This returns the floating point numbers. Parse int. This converts the string into the integer. Dialog boxes. There are three types of dialog boxes in JavaScript. The first one is alert. This receives message as a parameter. When we use alert dialog box, a dialog is displayed on which the message will be displayed. There will be a OK button on the alert box. The next one is confirm. This also receives the message as an argument. It will be having two buttons, OK and the cancel. The next one is prompt, which receives message as an argument. This will display a text box and two buttons. They are OK and cancel. The user can be entered value into the text box so that the value entered can be passed into some variable and can be used in further manipulations. Now let us see a small example to display all of these dialog boxes. This is a small example to display the dialog boxes. In the function, we have written a dialog box alert, confirm and a prompt. The value returned by the prompt has been assigned to another variable a. The function has been called on the body onload event. Now let us see the output. This is the alert box. It will be having an OK button. This is the confirm box. It will be having two buttons, OK and cancel. This is the prompt dialog box. It will be having a text box in which user can enter value and OK button and cancel button. OK. This is the small example to display all the three types of dialog boxes. Events. Events are items that transpire based on an action. The events are raised by objects. Some of the events raised by the objects are form events, blur, change, focus, reset, select and submit. The blur event raises when any object loses its focus. The change event raises whenever the data in the object has been changed. Focus whenever the object receives the focus. Reset whenever the reset button has been clicked. Select whenever the object has been selected. Submit event raises whenever the form has been submitted. Image events: abort, error, load. Abort is raised when user action caused an abort. Error rises when an error occurred. Load event rises when the object was loaded. Image map events: mouse out and mouse over. Mouse out event rises whenever the mouse is moved on a top of a link. Mouse over event rises whenever the mouse is moved over a link. Link events: click, mouse out and mouse over. Window events: blur, error, focus, load and unload. Now let us see an example to display some of these events and event handlings. This is a small example. Here I am including a text box and a button. For the text box, I have included on blur event and on focus event, and for the button I have included the on click event. Whenever the text box receives the focus, the message function called when focus has been got should be displayed, and whenever the last focus, that is on blur event occurs, function called when focus has been lost should be displayed, and when the button has been clicked, function called when the button has been clicked should be displayed. Let us see the output. This is the output. I am clicking in the text box, that is the function that the text box has been receiving the focus. Here is the alert box displaying function called when got the focus. Okay, enter some value into the text box, then come out of the text box by clicking tab or clicking mouse any elsewhere. This is the alert box when function called when focus has been lost. Then now click the button. This displays function called when button has been clicked. So this is a small example to display how events can be handled by the objects. This is how event handlers are written in HTML. As you can see, on mouse over, on mouse out, etc. are the events that are included for the object anchor. The event handling attribute is included in HTML tags. When multiple statements are included in the event handling code, the statements are separated by a semicolon. Now let us create an example to implement all of these validations and event handlings and dialog boxes. Let us take an example of student enrollment form. Let us create an application of this format. It should have a name of the as application form for the form, and it should be have an image over the top of the page, and it should have the fields for the name, that is the first, middle and the last. The first name and the middle name are the compulsory, that is they should not be null, and they should be in the block letters. If at all the user enters the lowercase letters, they should be converted to uppercase letters. And the next field is the name of the college or institution last studied. It should be the not null field. And the next one is the present address and the permanent address. They are also not to be left null. All of these fields should be holding only the alphabets and the spaces, but not the digits. And the next field is the telephone number, which should be only the digits but not any other special characters or the alphabets. It should not be null. The next one is the email. It should not be null, and it should follow all the rules and regulations of the email validations. And the next one is the previous qualification, which should be a select option where on clicking should display the available list. And the next one is the course applied field, which is also a select box which should display the available options on clicking that. The next one is the date of birth form, which should be accept in the format of DD, MM and YY, YY. That is, the first text box should accept only 2 characters, the next one only 2 characters, and the next one 4 characters. It should accept only the digits but not any other characters. The next one is the medium of instruction, which should be either English medium or Telugu medium, of which only one of them should be selected. And the next one is the nationality, which is a text box. And the next one is the languages known, which holds the check boxes, which allows us to select multiple options. And a reset button and a submit button. The reset button is to clear the fields, and the submit button is to submit the forms. And a small image to explain the mouse over mouse out events. Now let us learn how to design this page using HTML. This is how we are beginning the HTML page. It is having the HTML tag, head tag and the title tag. On the title the application form is written, and within the head tag the script has been included as JavaScript, and the body tag has been started. The body is given as the background color and the text color, and within the body an image has been displayed on the top of the which will be displayed on the top of the page. And now to submit the values, a form is required, so we shall start a form tag, for which the name has been set as frmsct, and on submit should call a function check frm. I am using a method called post. This is used to post the values that has been entered into the input boxes. Now we have to display the name in a name and the 3 text boxes. For this, let us start a table so that everything will be in a formatted way. For this table, the width has been set as 100%, the border is 0, cell spacing and cell padding are given. In the table, as a first row, we shall insert the text boxes for the name field. For the name, I has been using the letters name in block letters, and then 3 input fields. They are the text boxes, for which the name ID and the size has been set, the maximum length has been given, and on event handler on blur is used for all the 3 functions. That is, by calling this cap first or cap middle or cap last function, my intention is to convert the string entered into the text boxes into uppercase characters. We shall see the all of these functions when we are scripting the tag. And in the next row, I am using the values to display the first, middle and the last name, so that the user can understand in which text box the first name has to be entered, in which the second name, and in which the last name has to be entered. In the next row, I am entering the input box for the name of the college or institution last studied. I am setting the name, ID, size, maximum length, etc. In the next row, I have been including the present address and the permanent address. For this, I am using the text area field so that we can enter the text into the multiple lines. For that, I am inserting the attributes called rows equal to 3, columns equal to 40, etc. In the next row, I has been entering the fields for the telephone number. For this also, I has been inputting a text box. In the next row, I has been entering the values for the email field. It is also a text box. In the next row, I has been including the two select boxes. The select boxes can be obtained by using the tag select. In that we should give options using the tag option by option. Like this, I has given the options for the previous qualification as well as the course applied. For this, both of these I has used the select tag and options tag for displaying the values in the select box. In the next row, I has been inputting the values for the entering date of birth. That is, I am inputting 3 text boxes. The first text box maximum length is set to 2, and the second one to 2, and the last one to 4. And the medium of instruction has been set. For this, I has used the input type equal to radio, and the name has been given same to both the radio buttons so that only one of them could be selected. In the next row, I has been inputting the text box for nationality and 3 checkboxes to accept the languages known. As we have taken the checkboxes, we can select any number of checkboxes. And in the last row, I am inputting the reset button and the submit button. And also I am including an image to explain the mouse over and mouse out events. In the mouse over event, I has been calling the function show using the message as you are on the image, and for the on mouse out, I am calling the same function with a null message. This ends the table tag, form tag, body tag, and the HTML tag. Now we have to script the language. That is, we have to perform validations checking for each one of the text boxes. Now go to the script tag, and there we have to write the functions for each of the validations. Now first of all, we will validate the text that has been entered into the name field. That is, the text that has been entered into the text box should be converted to uppercase, whether it is lower or upper as the user enters. For that, we shall write a function in JavaScript. This is the function written to convert the values that had been entered into the text box to the uppercase. Value that has been entered into the text first box of the form FRM set of this document are converted to uppercase. This is the method used to convert the string into the uppercase, and the converted string has been assigned to the document.frm set.txt first dot value, so that the values entered into the text box will be automatically converted into the uppercase. This function has been called when the text box first loses its focus, that is, the event handler on blur raises this event. Then the function cap first will be called and the text will be converted to uppercase. In the same manner, we have to write for both the middle name and the last name. Like this, I has written the functions cap middle and cap last. These functions are called by the event handlers cap middle, that is on blur, and on blur of the last button, last text. Now we have to validate the fields entered into the other text boxes, that is, these validations should be performed when the user clicks the submit button. For the submit button, we have written the event handler for the form, that is, on submit return check frm. That is, now we have to implement this function check frm, in which all the text fields, the radio buttons or the check boxes, whatever we have written, should be validated. Let us write the code for the check frm function. This is the code used to validate the first name field, that is, the first name should not be null. For that, I am checking the value for the null value in this manner: document.frmset.text field 1 dot first dot value equal to null. If at all the user has left it null, then this function gets executed. If the value entered is null, I am displaying an alert message as please enter your first name, and again I am setting the focus to the same text box and returning false, so that the submitted values will not be sent to the server. If at all the user has entered some text, then the else part will be executed. In the else part, I am checking for the validity of the string, that is, the name should be contained only the alphabets A to Z, either the case and a space, but nothing else more than this. So for that, I am checking in this manner. First, the string entered is being sent into the variable first name. Then I am using a for loop starting from 0 to first name dot length. For every character, I am checking whether the value is present in between small a to small z, or capital A to capital Z, or it is a blank space. If at all the character exists in any of these, then the value is true. If at all, so I am using a not operator. If does not exist in any of these group, then I am raising an alert message displaying only alphabets and spaces are allowed in first name. Then I am setting the focus to the same text box and returning false, so that the form will not be submitted. In the same manner, we have to validate the middle name as well as the last name. Let us code for the middle name and the last name. Now we have to validate the next field, that is the college or institution last studied. That also follows the same conventions, that is, the college name should be within the alphabets or the blank space. So I am using the same code for validating the college name also. This is the code for the validating of college name. The same code has been used. Here I am including another character as period also. as the college name may contain periods in between them. Now we are going to validate the next field, that is the telephone number. The telephone number should contain only the digits, none other than that. So for that I am taking the value that has been entered into the text box set for the telephone number into a variable telno. I am checking it for the null value. If at all the value is null, I am raising an alert dialog box displaying enter telephone number. Then I am returning the focus to the same text box and returning false so that the values will not be submitted. Then if at all the values, some value has been entered into the text box, I am checking for the digit or not. For that I am using the function isNaN, that is not a number. If it is not a number, then I am alerting a message displaying only digits are allowed in phone numbers. I am returning false. Now the next field, email validation, has to be done. This is the more critical part where the validation of the email is done. For the email validations, we have to perform some conventions. That is, the email should contain the characters @ and a period as a must. So I am taking these two characters into a variable check email. Then I am taking the value that has been entered by the user into a variable as check str. Then I am taking three variables, email valid, email at, and email period, and setting them to false. Then I am taking each of the character of the input string and checking it whether it is equal to @ symbol or period. If at all a match has been done, I am converting the false values to true. Then at the last I am checking for the true values of the email at and email period. If I get both of them, I am coming out of the loop and I am setting email valid as true. If at all the email valid is not true, I am alerting a message displaying that the email should contain @ symbol and a period. I am returning focus to the text box and returning false so that the values will not be submitted. Now the date of birth should be validated. For that I am checking it for the null. If at all it is null, I am displaying the enter date. I am focusing to the same text box and returning false. I am checking whether the data entered has been numeric or not using the function isNaN. If not, I am alerting the warning message as only digits are allowed in date. I am returning false. The same code has been done for the date, month, and year. With this, we have concluded the validations for all the text boxes. At this session, I am not performing any validation checks for the radio buttons and the check boxes. Now, let us implement the functions that are handled by the event handlers on mouse over and on mouse out. So, implementing those functions, I mean the events, I has called a function show which is having a parameter msg. This is the function show which receives argument into msg. Then I am using the window object and its method status to display the message in the status bar of the window. I am returning true. That is, whenever the mouse has been moved over the image, the function show will be called using the message you are on the image. Then on the status bar you will be displayed a message you are on the image. Whenever you take out the mouse from the image, the function is called using the null string so that you will not be displayed any message in the status bar. With this we have come to an end of the scripting. Now let us see the output of the file created. This is the output obtained by creating the file. Now let us start entering values into these text boxes. Let us check if at all I submit these values without entering any value. I am clicking the submit button. I get an alert message, please enter your first name. So I am entering my first name. I has entered using the small characters. Now I am pressing the tab so that the text box on blur event will be fired. See that the text has been converted to capital letters. Now I am entering my middle name Kumar with some special characters. And I am entering my last name. Now if at all I try to submit the form, it gives an alert message that only alphabets and space are allowed in middle name. In the middle name I have entered some special characters. These are not allowed according to our script. So the focus has been brought back to the middle name. Now I am entering only the name. Now I am entering my college name. And present address and the permanent address. In the telephone number, I'd like to enter some digits as well as some characters. And in email address, I am entering only the string without the @ symbol and the period. I am selecting some of the qualification and the course applied, and I am entering my date of birth. And medium of instruction, nationality, and the languages known. As we have kept as multiple selection can be done. And if at all I submit these values, it gives me an alert message that only digits are allowed in phone number, and the focus has been brought back to phone number. And if at all I submit this, it gives an alert message that the email field must contain @ and a period symbols. So I am entering those period, @ and a period value. Now I'd like to submit this form. Before submitting, let us check the reset value. If we click the reset value, the form will be cleared everything. Now let us see this image. Whenever we move this mouse over that image, you can observe on the status bar that you are displayed a message that you are on the image. Whenever you come out of the image, the message has been changed. Whenever you go onto the image, the message you are on the image will be displayed. That is, the mouse over event has been fired and the mouse out event has been fired. With this, we conclude our session. In this session, we have learned the basics of JavaScript, how to embed the JavaScript into HTML, the main functions, how to write functions, the events, the event handlers, and some validation functions. Finally, we also learnt how to design a page and apply some validation functions and fire the event handlers. Thank you everyone.